What's up, YouTube? My name is Arthur Robinson Jr. I'm the creator and host of PowerfulInterviews.com. I am a partner of NationalDiversified.com. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this phenomenal video. In this interview, you're going to experience life-changing information that you will not find anywhere else. I have secured an incredible interview with a great friend of mine, successful businessman. His name is Darrell Alston. Darrell Alston is the founder of his phenomenal apparel company, which is called Bungee. And Bungee, basically, it is a urban business, and he creates sneakers for actors and actresses. And he also is good friends with the phenomenal boxer, Bernard Hopkins. In this interview, you're going to hear exclusively how Darrell Alston, he breaks down layman's terms about how he was incarcerated and he turned his life around from his humble beginnings to where he is today. Also in this interview, Darrell Alston, he breaks down layman's terms about how he created a phenomenal sneaker for Tone Trump. And Tone Trump is an A-list rap artist. And Tone Trump was in the phenomenal movie with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan, the movie which is called Creed. Also in this interview, Darrell Alston, he breaks down layman's terms about how entrepreneurs need to have a realistic plan and don't let no one tell you what you cannot do, and much, much more. So remember, this is not BS information. The right information will change your current situation. Wealthy people, they take advice from other wealthy people, and unfortunately, broke people, they take advice from broke people. So right about now, go get your pen and your pad, sit back and relax, and write down some notes. In this interview that I'm going to reveal to each and every one of you with my great friend, successful businessman. His name is Darrell Alston, and he is the founder of his phenomenal apparel company, which is called Bungee Apparel. This interview, it will change your life. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on. That way you be well informed when I publish more successful audio interviews. So, check it out.
Without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the powerful Darrell Alston to the show.
My man, I appreciate you, man. You got me ready to do a dance step to come out to the room on that one. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, man. That was great.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Darrell, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the listeners worldwide about building wealth and about your phenomenal brand, Bungee. I gladly appreciate it.
Okay, so where would you like me to start? Because the story is very crazy. I can actually end up having you on the phone for hours trying to tell you how everything ended up getting started. So you let me know where you want me to begin, and then I'll take it from there. And if you want to ask me any questions or anything else like that, I can just answer whatever you want to ask.
Okay. To everyone that's listening, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Darrell Alston is going to break down layman's terms about his phenomenal brand, Bungee, and we're going to be talking about building wealth. Is that correct, Darrell?
Absolutely.
Now, what I'd like to know, and can you explain to the audience in layman's terms, who is the phenomenal Darrell Alston? How long you been in your powerful industry, and what is your expertise?
Okay, first of all, everything all got started because I used to be a rap artist. I used to actually be signed to a couple of different record labels, and, you know, me coming up at the era that I was coming up in, which was, you know, in the early 2000s, you know, we had managers and, you know, different people that made sure that we had a look that looked like a star. We didn't like looking like the average person, you know what I mean? Like, we had artist development that showed you how to carry yourself and how to act and stuff like that. So to get to the point, I used to always customize my clothing and customize my sneakers because when I walked in the room, I wanted people to look at me like I was a star, like having something that no one else did. So if I had a pair of Jordans, I would customize my Jordans. So I knew everybody in the city was going to have them. You know what I mean? So I would customize mine a little bit different to make it so that, you know, no one in the street has the actual Jordans that I had. Basically what happened was, you know, I ended up having enough money to get samples made. And when I got my samples made, I ended up when the samples came in, I ended up putting them in the barbershop, and that's where I was working at the time. And this guy comes walking in, and he asked about the shoes. So I explained to him that I didn't really have the shoes. That was just samples, and, basically ran it all down to him on what it was that I was doing. So he asked me if I had a business plan. I told him, of course. He told me to meet him in Starbucks in 2 days. So I went to Starbucks. I show him my business plan, and he gets to, like, the second page and was like, how much money did you say that you needed? And I told him how much I needed. And he was like, yo, I'm going to give that to you. And I was okay, well, listen, just finish reading the business plan first before you commit to it. So he got about 3 or 4 more pages in, and he doubled what I asked for. And I'm like, all right, but can you finish the business plan first before you say any of that? So he got to, like, maybe a couple more pages in. He still had maybe, like, 2 more pages to go. And he ended up giving me triple the amount of money of what it was that I asked for. So wow, that's pretty much how I ended up getting my start and actually being able to get it out there. And then after I ended up getting it out there, I came out with a sneaker called the Fight Night. And this Fight Night sneaker, I basically made this specifically for, people that are trying to be, fashionable, but I wanted to make a boxing sneaker look fashionable. You know what I mean? So I actually had the boxing sneaker on when I was in the barbershop, and some other guy comes in, and he's like, yo, what are those on your feet? I told him what it was. I told him what was going on with it. I told him that I designed them, and they were the new, sneakers that came out. And he was like, well, look, I'm going to meet up with Bernard Hopkins tomorrow. Do you want me to see if you can come? And I was like, yeah. He ended up calling B-Hop up, and B-Hop was like, yo, like, bring him down. You know what I mean? So I ended up going down there, and, B-Hop from the very beginning was telling me that he basically only had 3 or 4 minutes to give me for, the meeting because he was in the middle of doing something. So at that point, I'm thinking I got 3 minutes to make this thing happen. So I ended up, making them 3 minutes very valuable, and I ended up giving him everything I had. And he basically told me, I'm too old for this. Like, I can't wear these shoes, you know what I'm saying? Like, there ain't nothing I can do for you. And then I basically explained to him, like, listen, I just have one question for you since you're not going to be a sponsor of mine or anything like that. And he was like, what's that? I said, what is it that you did that, helped you get from where you were to where you are now? Because I basically designed every one of these sneakers in jail. I was at the same 2 prisons that you were at Greater Ford and at Dallas. I seen his mural on the wall. Every time I went to the gym, I just really wanted to pick his brain about that. His whole demeanor changed. After he knew that I was locked up and he knew that I designed everything in jail, he went from being kind of standoffish to, like, opening his arms and welcoming me in. And to this day, B-Hop is like my uncle. Like, I talk to him every day.
Wow.
He takes me everywhere. And, it all was because we had that jail connection. You know what I'm saying? So the next thing you know, I went to the next level. Then I went to the next level. And then it just kept getting higher and higher. Then I got, rappers from L.A. and, Detroit. And, next thing you know, like, my clothes and sneakers is in, all these different states. So it just started to, take off, all around the same time. But the one thing that, I talked to you about earlier that's a little bit discouraging is it just seems like every other race is supportive except for our own people.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And the thing that gets me is just like every single place that I go to, whether it's a mall, whether it's wherever, I got everybody asking me what's on my feet, whether they black, white, Puerto Rican, Jewish, whatever it is. And then every single time that, anybody outside of our race asks, they buy them, or they go online and buy them right there. But if it's a black person, they tell me that it's too expensive. But then I look down on their feet and they have on Gucci's or they have on LeBrons, and it's like, so why is it so expensive? Because it's mine. Like if it would have been, some rich Jewish dude that owned this sneaker company, they probably look at it a little bit differently. And the thing that gets me is the fact that I told you this off air is the fact that I'm trying to provide jobs for our people. I'm trying to provide, our people that own their own businesses. I'm trying to do a lot of different things for our people. But if our people don't support, I can't do that.
That's true. That's true. And it's all about having that support mechanism. And when you was actually introduced to B-Hop, I know he came from a lot of humble beginnings to where he is today, and then that resonated with him in regards to the experiences y'all had where y'all were both incarcerated, but y'all turned your lives around. And that's what it's all about, reach one and teach one and educate a lot of people when it comes to ownership and building wealth and, building your businesses. And, like you said, we talked about this earlier off the air, the East Indians, Arabs, even some Africans, Jewish, they all pretty much stick together. They all about building foundations and building empires and building unlimited wealth. And that's the mindset that our culture has to adopt. But some of us are adopting that mindset, but then some of us are still, lost.
Yeah.
Darrell, can you explain to the audience what is the best advice that you have ever received?
The best advice that I ever received came from Bernard Hopkins, and it was two things that he said to me. The first thing that he said was, you know a person, or you'll be able to see who a person really is when you're not really looking at them. And I didn't understand that at first. But then when he actually broke it down to me and I started to see, I understood what he meant. And he basically did this to me when I first met him. He put me in a situation where I was around a bunch of people, and he basically made an introduction and he dipped off on me. And he went to another side of the room and just watched to see what I would do with the connections that he gave me. He wanted to see if I was going to speak to people or if I was going to just sit around and not say anything. And he watched me from a distance, and when he seen how I moved, that's when it was solidified that me and him was going to be tight, because after he made those introductions, I went and I made my own moves and made my own relationships and networked and did everything that I needed to do on my own at that point. The second thing was I was really, really hell-bent on my past. You know what I mean? Like, I was really, really upset about the fact that every time I did an interview, everybody wanted to know more about what I did to go to jail than what my products and stuff were. And it was starting to bother me. And I remember calling them up really upset about it, because I did an interview on Fox 29, and the whole interview on Fox 29 was about me going to jail and me turning my life around rather than them showcasing my sneakers. You know what I mean? And when I went to Bernard about it, I'm like, it's really bothering me because I don't want to think about my past. And he basically compared my past and my future to being in a vehicle. And what he said was, the rearview mirror is you looking back, but it's a very, very small window. You know what I mean? When you look through that rearview mirror, it's a very small mirror that you're looking through. But if you look through the front windshield, you have a big, front windshield where you can actually look to see what your future is going to be like, rather than you looking back constantly complaining about your past. And when I thought about what he was saying, I'm like, okay. And he basically was like, you only look back when you're trying to check to see what's behind you. Or if you want to be able to see what's in front of you, you got to look backwards real quick to see what you can do to move forward. So when he started breaking it down to me like that, it made it where it was much more accepting for me to be able to talk about my past, because I really didn't like it. And then being as though, I sold drugs and I did all the things that I did, we're used to keeping a low profile. I didn't like nobody knowing my business. You know what I mean? I didn't really like telling anybody what I was doing. And as of right now, I feel like I'm snitching on myself, because I'm telling everything that I was doing prior to me, going to jail. So, again, that was the best advice for me. And then, there's a lot of other things that I heard, but those were the ones that, stuck out to me the most. You know what I mean? So it's like when I meet people, instead of me taking them for face value, I watch them from a distance to see how they are when they think that I'm not looking. Because you already know that they're going to be on their best behavior when they see you looking at them.
That is absolutely true. And basically, what you did with your own life, you basically was planting seeds. And your story is your glory. And basically, mainstream media, their number one goal in regards to interviews, you get some people that like to provide a lot of value to the masses, and then you get media outlets that like to do interviews for shock value. And remember, when it comes to TV and radio, their number one goal is ratings. Anytime you post or you promote anything positive, you may get, some viewership that was going to tune into that. But anything negative in terms of, incarceration, rape, pillage, plunder, people are going to tune into that because the media outlets' number one goal is negative publicity means negative product. But really, your story is basically, that's your avatar where you can actually showcase that to the world, where people can resonate with that story and say, well, I remember when I was incarcerated, I turned my life around. That's what they wanted to hear. And now, since you're doing great things with your apparel business, which is phenomenal, which is called Bungee, now everybody's going to want to hear your story. They're going to want to hear, what you went through, and they're going to want to hear your breakthroughs. And that's what it's pretty much all about. And like I said, that's why they want you on their platform. And you're going to be on other people's platforms, and they're going to hear your story, but they're also going to hear your glory in regards to what you're doing, where you're building your brand and taking your business, your apparel line, to the next level.
Yes. I can agree. I mean, as of right now, it just took me a little bit of time to get used to that because, again, I wasn't really trying to talk about that. But, that was over a year ago now, so I'm like really, really open to talk about and discuss anything because at the time, I ended up getting an award from this place called Fun Times Magazine, and they had an award ceremony, and I went there, and some dude met me, and he was crying because he met me. And I didn't understand that. To me, it just didn't resonate with me to find out why this dude was crying when he met me. And when I sat down and I talked with him, he basically was like, I was inspiration for him because he was in jail too. And him listening to my story, helped him get motivated to do what he needed to do and stuff like that. So when I actually saw the impact that, I was making on people just because of that, that kind of changed my mind up as far as the way that I thought about, my past and the way that I would talk about it. So I'm much more open to discuss it now than ever than when it was before.
Right, exactly. Because when it comes to the prison system, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and jails is privatized right now. They make $300 a head off of each inmate in jail. And the whole thing is they talk about, they build in more correctional facilities, but correctional, if you look at that word, it means correct. But people, when they go in prison, they don't get correct. So the system is against you. Your odds are against you. So basically, you got to create your own opportunities and have a plan when you come out. And I know a lot of people that they were incarcerated, but they turned their lives around. And it really comes down to you have a burning desire for its achievement in regards to you turning your whole life around and making an impact in this world. Because without purpose, you have no focus.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
But you want to know what the problem is that I find? Is the fact that, and I can't say that this like this for everyone, I'm just saying, for me when I came home, we have a lot of people that actually came home from prison and are successful now.
That's right.
The thing of it is that they never came back and tried to help the other ones that are coming out of prison as well. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not speaking on everybody because I can't say that. I'm just saying that for me, when I came home, I didn't have anyone to show me the way or to show me, how I needed to get out of my situation. Because you got to take into consideration, when you first come home from jail, you're on parole, so you got a parole officer hounding you. You have a parole officer hounding you to go get a job somewhere. You got, if you're in a relationship, you got kids or you got your girl that's harassing you to get a job. So finally, you just take some dead-end job that you're not interested in, something that you don't really want, something that's not even really paying any money. So now you're working 40, 50 hours a week, and you're only getting at the most $10 an hour. You know what I mean? And then you got fines and costs that's coming out of your check because you got to pay restitution for your fines and all that stuff. You got child support coming out of your check. So before you know it, you're probably making like $200-300 a check. If you're a drug dealer and you used to making money, how do you think that you're going to live off of $200-300 a week off of working 50 hours a week? So what do you think that person is going to do? He's going to go out and he's going to sell drugs again, and then he's going to get caught back up in the system again. And the thing of it is that the system wants him to get caught.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like one thing that changed my whole mindset when I was incarcerated, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and act like I was all perfect when I was in jail. When I was in jail, I definitely thought about coming back home and doing the same thing I was doing. I just tried to think of a better plan to be able to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that this dude said to me changed my whole mindset. Me and my Sully was on our way to Chow, right? We was on our way to the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy was there. I never met this dude before, but my Sully knew who he was, because he used to be the counselor on the block before I got there. And the counselor dude says to one of the COs, yo, I want you to take care of these guys. And my Sully was like, what you talking about, man? Like, why you always joking around? He's like, I'm not joking around. He's like, I really want them to take care of you because you're going to be the reason why my kids go to make it through college. And my Sully didn't pick up on what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I immediately picked up on it, like, oh, this dude is saying that, we're his job security and we're going to help him get his kids through college. So when I broke it down to my Sully after we left, I'm like, damn, like they really do be looking at us like we a meal ticket for them. And then,
that's right.
Since I've been home, I've been getting with different politicians and different people that are in the school system or retired people that was in the school system and stuff like that. And there was a guy, which I don't want to mention his name, that kept it all the way real with me. I don't know how it was in Philly, but do you remember when you was younger, you would take like an aptitude test, like a PSAT or a CAT type test?
Right.
Okay, those tests right there, from what he explained to me, was they're specifically designed to find out what young kid is going to be in and out of jail and, how they're going to be able to help him get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand what he meant, so I had to get him to break it down a little bit further. So think about it like this. I know when you was in school, do you remember when you might have had, like, friends that that was in classes that might only have, like, 5 or 6 people in it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or like the special classes.
Yeah, like special ed.
Classes, those classes are designed for, supposed to be giving kids extra attention to be able to help them out with their studies.
Mm-hmm.
But those teachers aren't there for that. They're only there basically to babysit during the day, and they're just going to pass you through so that way you can, eventually graduate. They're not really worried about you getting an education. That's the reason why a lot of times we find out about people that graduated college after playing basketball and they don't even know how to read because they're pushing them through the system. So what happens is, around my area, once you end up getting to high school, instead of them trying to, help you get prepared for college, they try to push you to trade schools.
Mm-hmm.
And all the black people in my high school ended up going to a tech school, and that tech school wasn't teaching them anything. So as soon as they graduated, they automatically went to the streets. And then as soon as you get any kind of marijuana possession, any type of DUI, anything, they do anything that they possibly can to try to get you into the system. So that way when they get you into the system, now you got to try to fight your way out. And 9 times out of 10, they automatically assume that you're going to go right back to jail. So when you think about it, I was in jail for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into white people that have vehicular homicides that got caught with, 7 to 10 ounces of coke and all kind of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They was doing 18 months, 1 to 2s. How I get 6 years and all I got caught with was an ounce of coke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole system is designed for us to fail while all the other races prosper. It's also the same as that thing where when you think about our government system, you can be from out of this country and don't even know how to speak English, but they'll let you slide for taxes for 7 years. They'll give you grants to be able to open up in the 7-Eleven and all kind of stuff like that. What do they do for our culture? Nothing, except for putting liquor stores and all that stuff in our neighborhoods to make us drink and get drunk and do drugs. So
that's right.
In my point of view, it pissed me off so bad to actually see what was happening that I felt the need to try to come in and try to help other inmates that are trying to come home and, try to talk to different people about their goals, because when I was younger, I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody come up to me and say, what is it that you want to do with your life? All I knew in my neighborhood was you either played basketball or you was a rapper. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
right.
It's like, I didn't really have those other options. Nobody ever sat me down and told me about stocks and bonds and how to, build wealth through real estate. I never had any of that. You know what I mean? So, I didn't run into those kind of people until recently, now that I've changed my life around.
Right.
Now I run into those kind of people, but when I was knee deep in the streets and I was doing everything I was doing, I didn't have any mentors or have anybody tell me what it was that I was doing that was wrong. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I'm trying to take it now to a whole nother level and try to make it so that I'm going to be here for our coaching. But again, I can't do any of that without the support of the people because, you know, as of right now, you know, it's very hard to move into this business because you have Nike, you have Adidas, you have Reebok, you have all these different companies that make it so that you can't get placement in stores. Like, there's no way that you're going to see a Bungee Raymond sneaker in Foot Locker because Nike has those shelves on lock.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So it's like the only way that I would be able to do something like that is if I had support from the people and didn't even need to go through Foot Locker.
Right, you have to do it organically.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So trust me when I tell you, there's so many politics in the game that they don't even want us. They don't even want us to succeed. Now, the one thing for sure, do you remember that sneaker company called And1?
Yeah, I remember.
All right. Well, And1, they actually started their sneaker company out here where I'm from. So the guy that actually was one of their original founding members of it, he's a mentor of mine as well. And it's a white guy, but you know he's like really, really in with the black culture. And, you know, he's helping me build my business right now as well. So, you know, there's a lot of positive things that are going to happen.
Right.
A lot of things that, you know, is going to happen for our culture. It's just, again, we all just need to learn how to support one another. You know what I mean? It's like if everybody knows that you have a podcast show, they should be tuning into your podcast show and helping you get to that next level because if you become successful, you'll be able to hire more people and be able to give them, you know, the opportunity to be able to either create their own show or you'll be able to give them opportunity to expand and grow in your business.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the thing of it is like you're not going to get that support from black people because you're going to have, you know, a couple of black people who are like, man, my homie got his own podcast. Why am I going to support you when I can just go with my homie's podcast? You know what I mean? Like, you know, why can't we just all get all the podcasts together that's owned by black people, buy one big corporate building, and have everybody have their own shows and their own little office in that corporate building, and all of us own our own stuff. Like, that's the thing that I don't get. It's like everything always has to be a competition. Like, I can't go out there and sell them a T-shirt without somebody saying, my man got a T-shirt now, I'm just going to grab his. Like, why can't you grab mine and his?
Well, see, it's been ingrained in, especially in our culture with certain individuals with the, you know, the enslavement mentality and the crab in the barrel mentality. And I always say your mentality creates your reality. And getting back to what you were saying in regards to the special ed classes, the reason why they want certain individuals, either little girls or little boys in special ed, and they try to label them, you know, ADHD and things of that nature, is because the school system itself, they get $15,000 off of each head that is in special ed. So once you are labeled as a special ed student, they want you to remain being in that label. They don't want you to come out of special ed because the schools are generating lots and lots of income just from kids as being in the special ed program. Yeah. And then another thing with the school systems is curriculum means control. And a new idea comes to the school system every 50 years. So you think about from kindergarten all the way up to when you graduate, you know, high school, or you get a GED, and a GED stands for Good Enough Diploma. And when you get that, basically, you never learn about stocks and bonds. You never learn about real estate. You never learn about building wealth. You never learn about how to get your money, keep your money, and multiply your money. You never learn about income statements and balance sheets. You don't learn about these things. You never learn about minimizing your taxes, which that'll put more money in your bank account. You never learn about private equity and buying profitable businesses and, you know, setting your corporations up and setting your assets up in trust. This is what the wealthy people been doing for years. Absolutely. And the bottom line is the school system is basically broken. And I know some people where they are actually homeschooling their children when they're saying, listen, you're going to learn about building wealth. You're going to learn about taking ownership. You're going to learn about, you know, having confidence. Because confidence matters. And you're going to learn about capitalizing on opportunities. And with some of our culture, it's like, I get what you're saying, that, I wish people had the mindsets of you or me or other entrepreneurs that's really making a difference in their lives and the lives of others. But, I just adopted the mindset that I can't save everybody, even though I may want to, but I can't save everybody, because money is just a tool to have access to wonderful memories. The more money you have, the more you can change people's lives around. The less money you have, you can't change nobody's life around. And you can't help other people get out of the ditch unless you out of the ditch first. And once you out of the ditch, then you can create jobs for people that are less fortunate, and you can say, listen, you can come on my team and I'll put you on my payroll and I can give you, a good, hour wage in regards to making money hourly, or I can put you on, commission, because a job you get paid two ways, hourly, and you get paid on performance. And if a lot of jobs was paying people on performance, that means they'll be getting, nice hefty commission checks, but you only get paid for the value that you are bringing to the marketplace.
But you want to know something that's crazy about you saying all that? Mm-hmm. And I agree 100%. This is where the problem comes at, and this is, the typical black person's mentality, and I'm one of them. If you're in a situation where you're trying to create something, mm-hmm. and I know that a lot of rappers are like this too, and even a lot of rappers from Philly are like this. You're trying to create something, you don't get the support from your people. You finally blow up somewhere else, how are you going to feel about coming back to try to give back to your community if your community didn't even support you when you was trying to make it happen?
Right.
So now you're in a situation where it's like, oh, you didn't want to support me, so now I'm going to brag and I'm going to show y'all that I made it without y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what happens. And then next thing you know, that person becomes a target. Nobody wants to mess with you. And it's like, trust me, this business that I'm in, it reminds me exactly of the music business, because when I got my record deal, I wasn't even getting support from Philly. You know what I mean? I was getting played in St. Louis, New York, Virginia, North Carolina. Like, nobody in Philly was checking for me. And then it was like, as soon as, certain radio stations found out that I was getting love in other places, then they started hitting me up asking me if I wanted to do shows and if I wanted to, let me play your stuff on the radio and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it's like, why do I gotta go all the way out of state first in order for me to be able to get respect from the people that is in my own neighborhood? You know what I mean?
Darrell, that's powerful what you just said, because I interview a lot of millionaires and billionaires that have been on my program, and like you said, I get a lot of love from other cultures, and I get some love from our culture, but more love from other cultures. And when it comes to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, it seems like they need validation from other cultures to say that Darrell Alston, he's a good person, he's a value creator, and he's popping, and y'all need to follow him. And then all of a sudden, now the Philly movement wants to come on your train. And it shouldn't be that way. Like, I had Dr. Umar Johnson on my show. Dr. Umar Johnson was putting in a lot of work in Philadelphia. But you know what happened? When he started really getting a buzz in New Jersey, New York City, Atlanta, then that wave came all the way back to Philadelphia, and then that's when people in Philadelphia start showing them love. Isn't that something?
Yeah, and it's messed up, man. I'm telling you, It's like that. It's like that right now. It's like, I do have a couple, people in Philly that's checking for me now, like as far as stores and stuff are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to go to Florida first? Why do I have to go to Atlanta first? Why do I got to go to Detroit first? Like, you would think that since I'm from here, I should be able to go right to Philly and be like, yo, like, I got this new shoe. This is what it is I'm trying to do, and they should welcome me with open arms, especially if they like the merchandise. And the thing of it is like, it's not that they don't like the merchandise, because I can respect it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to say, yo, it's trash. Like, I don't like your merchandise, it's trash. I respect that. But don't tell me that you love my merchandise, but you want to see me pop somewhere else first. Why can't you let me pop with you? You know what I mean? And the thing of it is that gets me is it's like, I be talking to, like, different rap artists, or I be kicking it with different people, and I don't want to throw their names out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a conversation with one the other day, and dude was complaining to me about how, radio will just be playing the same rappers over and over again because of the payola situation, and, There ain't no video places no more because BET's not really showing videos anymore, and VH1 just shows reality shows making us look bad and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So my thing is, dude, you rich. You're a millionaire, and you got tons of millionaire friends. Why can't y'all get together and build your own stuff? Like, why you got to wait for somebody else to make it happen when you can make it happen on your own?
That is absolutely true, Darrell. It's all about building your own platforms. And, you know, when it comes to distribution channels, when you create a product or a service or create a video, the distribution channels is the eyeballs that is seeing your brand and what your brand basically stands for. So the bottom line is you got to create your own. And most people that create don't got time to hate. And most people that hate, they don't create. And you know what haters stand for? Haters stands for having anger towards everyone reaching success. And I don't focus on the haters. You're going to get haters, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be around people that in my face you wishing me well, but behind closed doors you wishing me hell. And that's the mindset of a lot of people in Philadelphia. Not everybody, but it's a lot of them that have that mindset where they secretly are looking for your demise. But you'll find out who your true friends are when God starts taking you to a whole nother level. And your real friends will not be envy of your elevation. Your real friends should encourage you and empower you and show those support mechanics of saying, you know what, Darrell, I'm behind you 100%, and promote you even when you're not asking them to promote you. But that's the mentality that Philadelphia has. Not everybody, but just a few. But when I go down Orlando, Florida, when I go to Atlanta, when I go out, you know, the Big Apple, New York, when I go to New Jersey, when I go to other different cities, you get a lot of mad love. And that's what it's, but you know, you only can really connect with people that want to connect with you. And like I said, you know, money is simply energy. But your energy speaks before you even start to have a dialogue with a person. You know, I've been to, you know, business seminars and people frowning, or you say, you know, how you doing? And I'm looking dead you in the eye, and you don't even want to speak. Well, you know what? Your energy is speaking to me before I even speak to you. But if you're around a person that has a positive energy and they say, listen, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I got a YouTube channel, you know, I want to connect with people that's of influence, that's making a major difference in other people's lives, that's the energy I want to connect with. You know, I know the problems of the world, but it's all about finding solutions to people's problems. Billionaires and hecto-millionaires and deca-millionaires and even low-millionaires, they became that by solving people's problems. Like, for example, with Uber basically changed the transportation industry. They changed the whole game because they just own the data. They don't even own no cars. They basically leveraging off the other people's cars, and they paying them, you know, some profit, and they are basically keeping the other profit margin. So you don't necessarily have to even own the product to generate a lot of revenue in regards to what you want to do. And with what you're doing God's work, and you can't save everybody. Because everybody, I think when it comes to even building wealth, I don't think it's meant for everybody. Because I can give a person a blueprint and say, listen, if you do A, B, C, and D, if you do what I'm telling you to do, you're going to generate, you know, $2 million within this year. But if you don't do it, you can't blame me.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
You can't say the program didn't work. But did you do it? Or Arthur, you know, I didn't do it. Well, how are you going to blame a program when you didn't even execute the program? You can't cruise through entrepreneurship. You know, that's what a lot of people do. They think, well, you know, if I just put in work, you know, 6 months to a year, I'm just going to excel to the next level. And that doesn't happen. A lot of people I see that get into businesses, and then all of a sudden, you know, they talking about the next following year, I want to go get my CDL license, which is nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you didn't really stick to your plan. You got to be fully committed to your commitments if you really want to grow to the next level. And that's just the way I see it.
But you want to know why that happens, though?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I actually see this all the time. What happens is let's say for the sake of argument, people are listening to my story with the sneaker thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of people that are out there that may design sneakers, may design clothes or whatever, and they hear my story and think, well, damn, I'm going to put something together real quick, and I'm going to make it happen just like him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the reason why we need to have mentors that are like, listen, it didn't happen overnight. You know, this situation takes time, this situation takes this, it takes that.
Right.
A lot of times we don't get explained that. So what happens is, you know, we jump into that situation in a hurry to try to make money, and when it doesn't pan out within the first 6 months or something like that, we move on to something else because we need money. But that's the reason why, again, I look at the situation the way that you looked at it from when you were saying that other races, they groom their people that way.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? Like, one thing for sure, right? Again, I'm around a lot of different races, a lot of different people. I can have a conversation with a black kid that was raised in a very good household, and they'll know exactly what their plan is going to be from the time that they're in 11th grade all the way until they're 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then you talk to someone that wasn't raised in a good neighborhood, and they graduate next week, and they have no idea if they're going to college. They don't know what job they want. They just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it really depends on the whole circumstance on if things are going to work out that way. And the thing that you got to take into consideration is the fact that, you know, depending on the black family or even white families or any other families that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
they're all prepared. So it's like, for example, I have a couple of white friends where when their dad died, they ended up inheriting like $3 million from insurance policies and all that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But most black people, when their parents die, they're inheriting debt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
that's
it's
right.
Or they'll get handed a house to them and they can't pay the taxes, and then they end up losing the house.
That's right.
So it's
That's
like,
right.
you know, white people don't go through those kind of problems because they usually set up before their parents even check out. So it's like it's up to someone to actually step in and say, look, this is what you need to do to be fair. This is what you need to do to be able to get yourself together, and we got to start it off at a young age. So that way, you know, you got to take into consideration, if you talk to any kid that's between the ages of 10 and 16, the majority, I'll say at least 75% of those kids are going to say that they go into the NBA or the NFL. Nobody's thinking about doing anything outside of some kind of entertainment.
Right, exactly, Darrell. And, you know, I have friends, you know, that is in the NFL. And, you know, NFL stands for not for long. And, you know, they make a lot of money, but they're going through the same situation, and they're starting to now adopt the mindset of, you know, what the wealthy is actually doing. And what you was just saying earlier about, you know, kids, they already know what they want to do before they even get out of high school. You know, their parents design that for them in that way. A lot of our culture, you know, some of our parents, you know, all parents ain't created equal. Some people follow business and entrepreneurship, some people don't. But at the end of the day, it's never too late. And if you really want to learn what wealthy people do, you got to do what winners do. You have to. It's really not an option because, you know, if you do the part-time thing, you're going to be setting yourself up for full-time problems. Like you said, you don't know, even when it comes to death, when you go into the pearly gates, that costs money in regards to funerals. And it comes down to what type of funeral you want to have. That costs money. You know, you want to live in a better neighborhood, that costs money. You want to build your business, it costs money. And you need the right people on your team to help you build your dream. Because people build businesses. The businesses don't build the people. And
I'll tell you what. One thing for sure, and I didn't mean to cut you off because you're talking about the whole funeral thing. When it comes time for black people, most of the time you'll see somebody trying to raise some money for their loved one to get buried. But when it comes time for white people, they have a beautiful funeral. And I'm not saying everybody's like that. I don't want your listeners to be like, well, that's not me. I'm tripping. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm talking about on the strength of the community that I'm from. I'm not talking about anybody else's community. I'm not talking about anybody else's community. I'm not talking about any individual. I'm just saying from what I grew up watching, all I see is black people struggling, and all I see is, you know, people losing their houses because of taxes. I see, you know, GoFundMe pages to bury a loved one, and I just feel like, what do we got to do to be able to get on the same level as other races? And what do we got to do to be able to stick together and be able to, you know, everybody come together as one so that we can start building our own foundation? You know what I mean? And one thing that V-Hop told me, he said, you know, when it comes time for Jewish people in the Jewish community, they keep their money within, you know, their arena and they circulate their money 2-3 times before it leaves their Jewish community.
That's true. That's
You know what I mean?
absolutely true.
But if you go to a black community, you're going to see Koreans owning the corner store. You're going to see, you know, Chinese people owning the hair stores. You're going to see Italians with the hoagies and the cheesesteaks. What do black people have in the black community? We don't have anything at all.
They're not even thinking about, you know, taking ownership. That's why I say it's always good to develop high-income skills. And when you develop high-income skills and you generate revenue, then you can focus on scaling your business and have high returns on your investments. Now, you know, I know what JOB stands for, Journey of the Broke. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of people trading dollars for, they're trading hours for dollars, but those dollars can be, you can trade hours for higher dollars. You know, so at the end of the day, it's all about what are you actually bringing to the table? What is your value proposition? What is your USP, unique selling proposition? Because at the end of the day, if you have a product or a service and you have markets that want your product or your service, you're going to be in business for a long time, because happy customers are loyal customers. They keep coming back to you wanting your product or your service. And a lot of people don't tap into their infinite potential. And your infinite potential is hidden within you. So what's in you and what exists in you must come out of you so the world can experience the real you. Like, for example, the world is experiencing the real you by you building your Bungee Apparel line. That's what I'm talking about. You know, God got into your creativity space, and now you're showcasing that to the world, and now you having people gravitating towards your movement. But if you would have kept that hidden, Bungee Apparel line would have never manifested itself if you would have kept that in, and you just would say, you know what, I'm just going to get a regular job, and I'm not going to even, you know, showcase my talent and my brand to the world. Darrell, let's talk about video. Now, I know a couple of years back, Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion. So video is hot right now. Can you explain to the audience the power of using video, and should entrepreneurs and business owners use video to expand their brand?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still trying to figure it out. I have a couple of advisors that are on my team that actually, you know, showed me what it was, and I also have a good friend that works at Facebook. And they're the ones that are showing me what it is. So I don't want to sit there and make it seem like I know exactly what the situation is with videos. I just know that it's very important. And I know that when it came time for running ads, you know, for the line, it seems that people want to see more videos than pictures. So statistically, that's just what it is. But me personally, knowing exactly what it is, I really couldn't answer that question.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I kind of just get thrown in the arena, and I have people that are saying, this is the way to go, and I just do it, and it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, you know, you got to take into consideration, I was going for a lot of the social media era. You know what I mean? Like, when I first got locked up, they was talking about, you know, MySpace. I come home from jail, and you got Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, you know what I mean, Twitter. I never even heard of any of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah, so it was like I have no idea what any of this stuff was, and I basically had to figure it out. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, as of right now, I'm still learning and still trying to figure out, you know, what it is. And it's like as soon as I got used to Facebook, everybody was like, Facebook ain't it, Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then as soon as I started bubbling on Instagram, we got up to like 60,000 followers on Instagram. Next thing you know, man, it ain't Instagram no more, it's Snapchat. Hey, man, listen, I'm not going on Snapchat doing no live video with no, you know, horns coming out the top of my head. No, I'm not doing all that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I just, you know, to me, I really don't know what the key is. I wish that I did know, and I really wish that I knew the key, because I, you know, again, I'm a rap artist first. I mean, I don't rap anymore, but I really wish that I could have figured that out, because that's the lane that I wanted to be in. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, it's just difficult, man, and it just seems like all the businesses that our culture wants to be in, it's like, you know, slim to none. for you to be able to be successful at it. You know what I mean? It's like, even like when I came into the sneaker business, I had a couple of guys that was from LA that was helping me out, that was helping me with my website and trying to help me get started. And they basically told me, like, yo, like, you in the wrong business. Like, you shouldn't be trying to create sneakers because these major sneaker companies are not going to let you in. And I looked at it like, I'm not worried about them letting me in. I'm kicking the doors down because this is what it is that I want to do. I'm not taking no for an answer.
Exactly. And you really can't focus on the big international brands because, you know, they have distribution centers, you know, they basically, big brands are manufactured, and it's all about building your brand identity. And that's what you're doing right now with Bungee. And as long as you pretty much got the mindset that you want to, you know, change the world with your brand and your global reach in regards to you building your brand, that's what it comes down to, and that's what it's really all about. You know, Gandhi said, be the change that you would like to see in the world. Be the change that you would like to see in the world. That's what I'm doing. That's what you're doing. That's what a lot of entrepreneurs are doing. They're being the change they would like to see in the world. And when it comes to building your business, it's not going to be an easy road. That's what a lot of people do when they start saying, I want to, you know, basically, you know, start my own business. But when you start your own business, you're just hiring yourself. Yeah. Once you get to the point where your business is generating top-line revenue, you're building a machine where it's running basically without you, where you got people on your team where they taking care of the administrative work. You got somebody on bookkeeping. You know, you got somebody on your website. You got somebody doing graphics. All of this costs money. And when it comes to Facebook and, you know, Twitter, Instagram, these are all delivery systems. You know, YouTube is a delivery system to basically publish your content. You know, Facebook is a delivery system, Snapchat delivery system, Twitter delivery system, Blab, blogs, radio, TV. These are all delivery systems. And on these delivery systems, even when it comes to iTunes and Spotify, you have a lot of eyeballs and ears that's listening to content. You got a lot of people where they saying, listen, I got to adopt, you know, the strategies of the wealthy. I got to connect with people where I had to be immersed into lifelong learning. And I love what Warren Buffett says, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Mm-hmm.
Darrell, let's talk about the word entrepreneur. Now, the word entrepreneur means entreprendre, and it was a Latin word, and it was invented in the 15th century in France. And a gentleman by the name of John Baptist, he invented the word, and over 300 years later, that word still exists, which is entrepreneur. So entre means between, and pondre means to take. So it means to take lower productivity and increase it to higher productivity. Can you explain to the audience how you increasing your productivity in your businesses?
I'm going to put it to you like this, and I hate to do it, but I got to be all the way 100 with you. Like, I don't beat around the bush. I don't make no excuses up and nothing else like that. I put it to you as simply as I can by saying I basically was forced into entrepreneurship this way because I didn't have an opportunity to be able to come home and get a job after being arrested 3 times for drug possession and with intent to deliver. You know what I mean? So I was in a situation where whether it was called entrepreneur or whether it was called anything else, I was going to have to do this for myself in order for me to be able to be successful. And the thing of it is that I think that a lot of us don't realize, you know, depending on what area that you're from, people start selling drugs at the age of 11, 12 years old. You got to take into consideration you're running a business. So I basically run my business exactly the way that I ran my business when I sold drugs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the same exact concept. It's the same exact thing. It's just that it's a legit situation rather than it being against the law. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's very, you know, I don't want to get all, like, trying to make it seem like everything is all so philosophical with me because it's not. Like, I basically had to do what I'm doing in order to survive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of times people are looking at it where it's like, oh, my God, you did such a, you know, great thing. You went to jail, you came home, you did this, you did that. And it's like, I don't really think that I should get accolades for what I did because I didn't have any other choice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I don't want to be praised for the fact that I read books when I was in jail on how to be a successful business owner because that's what you're supposed to do after you get in trouble. I have nothing but time in there. And the thing of it is like the people that are there, they're lifting weights, they're playing basketball, they're on the phone arguing with their girl or trying to finesse another one. And it's like you got to take that time to try to get yourself together because if you go in, doing what you did, and then you don't acquire some kind of skill or some kind of plan for when you're going to come home, you're going to come home and do the same exact thing you was doing before you went in. And that's what I think a lot of our problems are. You got to take into consideration the correctional facility that you said was they're supposed to be correcting us that aren't. They provide us enough to be able to keep us happy, which is weights, which is a basketball, you know what I mean, a football during football season. Like they provide us these things that make us stay, stagnant and we don't grow as a person. So it's like if you're not really committed to trying to change your life in there, you're not going to. So I don't want to get sidetracked from telling you what my definition of an entrepreneur and all that is. I just don't want to give you a cliche answer that sounds good for your listeners. I'm being all the way 100 with you. I'm doing this because I have to. And if I didn't have to, I don't know what I would be doing right now. But I did it because I already knew that I wasn't going to be able to find a job. And I looked at it where it was like, I'm not going to sit there and have to, beg someone to give me an opportunity because of my mistakes that I made. So I went and I made a lane, and I'm giving myself an opportunity rather than having to go through someone else.
Darrell, I appreciate you coming on my show today because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners on a worldwide scale that they can live the life that they truly desire, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
Yeah.
Darrell, let's talk about reading. Now, I love reading, but unfortunately for some people, reading is a lost art today. Can you explain to the audience what books do you like to read and what books do you recommend for the listeners to read?
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
All right, my two favorite books. I already know that you're familiar with the one. The one that I read like it was a Bible was The 48 Laws of Power. That's one of my favorite. Yeah, that's one of my favorite books. And my second favorite book, and I've read this book a couple different times, is called How to Act Like a CEO. And the author's name is D.A. Benton.
Wow.
And basically it's 10 rules for getting to the top and staying there. That's pretty much what the whole book is about, and it teaches you how to carry yourself if you're trying to be, a CEO. And it's like one of the best books that I've run into as far as like giving me the knowledge on what it is that you need to do. And it's crazy because, everything all plays hand in hand. You know what I mean? Again, I told you that I used to be a rap artist. I used to be, out there doing shows and stuff like that. And I'm going to give you an example of how every business is kind of similar, and I know that you're going to understand what I mean. When I was a rap artist, I remember I went and I did a show in St. Louis. There was a couple of people that was there, but it wasn't really nothing major. Nobody was really checking for me back. The next time that I did a show, I ended up hiring a new manager, and the new manager said, listen, I want you to go out and get jackets with your name on them. I'm going to hire photographers, and I want you to get all your boys out to come out there with you and walk in together. So I'm like, okay, cool. We ended up pulling up in my car, which was provided by him, which wasn't mine. We go to the front door, and I got about 12, 13 people with me. And this guy hired photographers to stand out front of the club and take pictures of us as we're going in. And then when we got inside, there was about 5 or 6 people with cameras that kept taking photos of us. Now, the thing that's so amazing about that particular situation is he made us look like we were bigger than life.
Right.
And as though we looked like we were bigger than life, everybody wanted to know who I was. Everybody wanted to wait around to see what my music sounded like. And even if they didn't like the music, they was brainwashed to believe that I was something that I wasn't. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what it is with business. It's like the same thing we discussed with Philly. Being as though, no one heard of, the situation, if you mess around and you fool people into believing that you're way more major than what you really are, then everybody wants to check for you.